scoring in today's game, we have an environment for bowling, just like any other sport has their playing field. This is our playing field. So there's also rules that you need to abide by, and one of them is staying behind the foul line. If you cross the foul line, not only will you get a 0 for that particular shot that you throw, you could also injure yourself because oil is applied to the lane and it's very slippery, so you could cause injury by crossing that foul line. So remember, always stay behind the foul line when you're bowling. Now that we've talked about the foul line and why you need to stay behind it, I'm going to show you how to keep score and what consequences going over that could be in your score. So the object of the game is to knock all 10 pins down, and you get 2 chances per frame, and there is 10 frames in a game. So we're going to start off with the first frame, and you throw your first ball down the lane and you get 7 pins down. Well, that would leave 3 standing, and you get a second chance to knock those 3 down. If you're successful knocking them down, it's called a spare, which is marked with a diagonal line like that. So that would give you 10 pins for that frame, but you also get to add your next ball, the very first ball in the second frame, to that 10 for your total score. So if you get say a 6 count on your first ball the next frame, you would add that 6 to the 10 from the first frame, giving you a total of 16 in the first frame. And again, you would have a chance to knock down the remaining 4 pins left in that frame to add to your score. If you don't, say you get 3 of them, now you would have 9, so 9 would get added to the 16. You would have 25 in the second frame. If you were to get a strike, which is marked by a X, that counts as 10 plus your next 2 balls in the next frame. So 10 plus, again, if you get down, say, 8 in your first shot, well, you still get to count the second shot, which leaves 2 pins, and again, you get a chance to knock it down. If you were to get them down, that would be successful and be a spare. That'd be 10 plus 10 in this frame, adding 20 onto 45 would give you a score of 45, because it's a strike, which is 10, plus your next 2 balls, which equal 10 pins knocked down. So that gives you a total of 20. And again, spares are 10 plus your next ball. Let's say you go over that foul line. The little light's going to buzz, and it's going to give you an F on the score sheet. That would be 0, so you'd only add 10 to that score, which is then going to be 55 for that frame. But the F, you get 0 points for that, but you do still get the chance to knock them down the second ball. If you don't, and say you only get 7, you would add 7 onto that for a total of 62. Now, strikes, if you get more than 1 in a row, remember you get strike as 10 plus your next 2 balls. Well, say you get a strike in the 7th frame, you would still have 1 more ball, and say you get a strike in the 8th frame too. So now you would have 10 plus 10 plus 10, so a total of 30 added to your 62, which is going to give you a total of 92. And again, you remember you still get 10 plus your next 2 balls, so that would be 10 plus whatever your first ball in the 9th frame is. If it's a, say, 7 count, now you would add 10 plus 10 is 20 plus 7 is 27. Add that to your 92, you have a 119. And again, you still get the chance to knock over the 3 remaining ones in the 9th frame. And say you get them down, that's a spare, so you'd have 10 for that frame added to 10 from that frame, because it's a strike is 10 plus your next 2 shots, which equaled 7 and 3 is equal to 10. So that would be 139, because you're adding 20 pins onto this score from the 7th frame. The 10th frame is no different than any other frame. If you get a strike, it would be 10 plus your next 2 shots, and if you notice 10th frame, it does have 2 boxes for 2 more shots. If you were to get a spare in this frame, it's 10 plus your next shot, there would be 1 box left to fill, which is why there's 3 boxes in the 10th frame. But if you have the spare in the 9th, is 10 plus 10 for your first ball in the 10th, adding 20 pins to this score here would give you 159. Now, which won't happen very often because I know even you beginner bowlers are going to be getting better. Say you go over that fall line again and you get an F. Again, no pins count for that delivery, but you do get a second chance. Say you get 7, well, it would be 10 plus 0 plus 7 is 17. Onto 159 would give you a total of 176 for that game. Now, I hope you're able to follow along with how that works. Again, remembering a spare counts as 10 pins plus your next ball, which in this case was 6. That's how you get the 16. A strike counts 10 plus your next 2 balls total, which in this case was an 8, and then you picked up the spare of 2 pins for a total of 10 in that frame, adding 20 to that score. And a foul counts as 0 if you go over that foul line. That's like going out of bounds in any other sport that just doesn't count. So that's the basics of how to keep score. Now again, most places have automatic scoring these days, but if you know how to do this, you'll never be out of the game.